Welcome to this digression session. We're going to talk about The Flash.
The Flash.
No, there's no subtitle to this movie. It's just called
Flash.
The Flash. So I'm going to just jump in right off the bat saying on certain levels, I like this movie.
Yep.
Overall, I had an enjoyable time going to the theater seeing this movie. This movie was a spectacle. It had. I don't know if I would place it where it is now. I know it's been in development hell for a good couple of years due to
almost
pandemic.
a decade.
Yeah, but I would have this works, I guess, in a weird way as an origin for at least one character. But then it ties in a lot of this other stuff that I was connecting with on other levels. We'll get into that later. But yeah, I would say just quick summation of the movie was that I found myself enjoying a good portion of it. Not everything. Got some issues with some stuff, but I think it was a good DC movie over 1980 whatever Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a few other ones like the original Justice League before
it's solidly in the middle of the list for me.
Yeah, it's I don't know if I would rank it above Aquaman or I don't know.
I like Aquaman quite a bit, but
it's in between there somewhere. It's either ahead of it or a close second behind it.
Right.
But yeah, let's just jump in and talk about it. Brodsho, you start off. You know the origin. Wilson, you know the origin. You have don't you have a tattoo of the Flash?
Oh.
No.
Oh, who does?
I don't.
Nobody.
I have a lightning bolt.
He has a lightning bolt.
I have a red lightning bolt on my arm, but it's not a Flash tattoo. That's just what everybody assumes.
Close enough. A Harry Potter scar, lightning, Flash, whatever.
Sure. I'm glad to know what it finally means after all these years. Thank God.
Right.
Oh, fantastic. I'm glad we cleared it up. So yeah, Brodsho, you dive into the origins of this story, and your overall take of the movie.
Yeah, I'm very much the same as you. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I went in with very low expectations, as I just tend to do nowadays. Nowadays, when it comes to superhero movies, I think Eternals broke me. And I just decided from now on, I'm gonna go into superhero movies just with tempered expectations and just try to enjoy it and not get too critical with it, And so that's what I did. And I ended up having a lot of fun. I liked that first sequence quite a bit, where he has to go help Batman.
Sure.
And
well, he isn't he told through Alfred hey, go do this, and he's like, oh, can't somebody else do it?
Yeah, because he has to get his. He's got to get his calories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or else he's because he's got that super metabolism.
Was that discussed? I just want to bring that up. Was that discussed in any other iteration with Ezra Miller that he has?
No.
Well, I mean, in the.
But that's in the comic books.
We know that. But first timers, getting into just this movie after watching just the subsequent movies, they're like, wait, he's got to eat? What the fuck?
Well, they never explained it before, but they did have a scene where he was talking with Bruce and he was scarfing down an entire pizza or whatever. But they never. They've never talked about it ever.
They never went deep into it.
And that was weird for it to be a thing. Yeah, go ahead.
But I enjoyed that. Yeah, that first sequence going, and then when the hospital collapses and all the babies fall out the window, and he's got to go save all the babies, and he's moving all the stuff around, and then the best result for one of them is just to put the baby in the microwave.
Which it's a bold choice for the director. Let's just do that.
Put a bunch of babies in mortal danger, first of all. Have them falling out of a building. But second of all, throw it in a microwave so it doesn't get burnt by the oxygen tank that's setting shit on fire. moving a bunch of other stuff around. But that whole sequence was fun. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And then, yeah, I mean, it's kind of it definitely is a play on the comic Flashpoint, which is the same thing where he goes back in time and stops his mom from getting murdered, and it changes the world essentially. It's very similar in that aspect. But that's about it as far as story goes, you know.
That's the whole like crux of the movie. That's what it it hinges on, that moment, and that's what you want for this character. You want him to have some kind of closure within that moment of that kind of ran his life, you know.
I don't know that that's necessarily what you would say you want for this character. They could have
but it's like a.
That's what the whole plot hinges on, is like why he does what he does is to go back and save his mom.
If there was a time for him to do the Flashpoint stuff, it's this time in his career when it's like when he just discovers he's able to go back in time. Because like when Flashpoint happens, like Barry's been around, been time traveling, you know, been dead, quote unquote dead, and come back and like all this stuff. So like he should kind of know better at this point. But like if there's like he just discovers in this movie that he can do that he can time travel, and then that opens the thing to him where it's like, oh shit, if I can do this, you know, because it's his dad's appeal hearing is like the next day or some shit, and like his only evidence that could free him or whatever was this video from the grocery store because he got sent to go get tomatoes for his mom, and like. But at the grocery store video is all, you know, it was all grainy, and they finally got it cleared up, but he never looks up, so you never see his face. And so like that doesn't work
or anything like that. He paid with cash.
Yeah. So then he realizes then he's like, shit, I can do this. And he talks to Bruce, Affleck Bruce, and he's just like, no, this is a terrible idea. You don't know, you know, basically just like butterfly effect shit, which he even says. And like, and Barry's just like, yeah, but he's like, I can even save your parents and shit. And Bruce is like, nah, dude, just no.
He said something about the scars made us who we are, or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
And then something breaks events. Barry. I don't know if it's that video or what. And he runs back and he decides to fucking do it. And fucking goes back and puts the tomato can in his mom's shopping cart, so she never forgets it and has to send the dad out.
Right. And then when at this point, is this still like on track with the comics?
No, he doesn't.
Well, let's get into those like differences there. Like,
no, in the comic book, he doesn't like. There's no like inciting thing. Like, there's no like his dad goes to get something for his mom or anything. That's not what happens. It's just in the comic books, Reverse Flash.
Yeah, Reverse Flash. Like, there's an event that happens, and he's like, "What?"
He goes back in time and kills Barry's mom in the comics, and so, like in Flashpoint, he goes back and stops him from doing it. That's all it is, and like, because then when the cops show up, there's no other evidence or anything. Like, I think he does it purposely to frame his dad too. So it's like. Reverse Flash is just the fucking worst. The dude's like one of the best, just bad guys ever. But just to hurt Barry, he does that, and so Barry just runs back and stops Reverse Flash from doing that, thus changing the timeline. So it's not like that at all, where like the dad goes to get something. There's nothing like that. And like I said, that's
when were you hooked, like, with the movie? You're like, all right, I can settle into this movie and, you know, just let it wash over.
Well,
me.
after that first scene was just fun, so that's kind of what hooked me for it.
And then it was all just kind of fan servicey stuff that you were kind of vibing with a bit, or
yeah, I mean the rest of the movie was fun enough to you know, there's enough fun moments in it and stuff like that where I enjoyed it. I actually didn't hate Ezra Miller, like his Flash as much as like it wasn't as grating on me as he was in Justice League, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Which I think there's even a little meta joke in there because like when he goes back, because when he's in that time thing after he changes it, there's like a weird speedster monster in there that knocks him out early from it, so he's like doesn't come back in time quite from where he left. So like the younger him, the 18-year-old him that's in there that he runs into and has to deal with is like super annoying, and he makes a joke where he's just like,
prime annoying Barry.
Well, he even says like, man, now I understand what people are talking about when they said how I was like really annoying or whatever.
Does that really make it any better just because the movie itself calls out a problem with it?
No, calls out a problem with like with his characterization in Justice League.
No, his
like that's
characterization in this too. I was honestly like, I don't think I've ever
normal Barry I didn't mind. It was younger Barry that was a little more grating. Regular Barry, it didn't bother me that much. Comparatively, he bothered me more in Justice League than he does in this. For regular, like I said, not young Barry, but young Barry was more annoying.
What are some traits of Barry in the comics and in other media?
He's nothing like this in the comic books. He's nothing like that.
He's a kind of a quippy, kind of like snarky dude, though.
No.
Is he really
Barry.
Not Barry?
Not Barry. Barry's more straight-laced. He's a straight-laced CSI guy. He has a little humor, but he's not a quippy guy like that. That's more Wally.
Is that Wally or like
Wally West, his sidekick,
the Shazam dude?
No. Wally, he was his Kid Flash, and then Wally's kind of the Flash like all of us are more familiar with, because he was the Flash from like the end of the 80s through till Barry comes back in like 2008. So like Barry was dead for like 20-some years in the comic books. Wally was the Flash throughout the 90s, and he's the one that's in the animated series and stuff. That's Wally. He's more quippy and humorous, but not Barry. Barry's not like that.
He's just straight-laced forensic scientist guy.
Yeah, he's more straight-laced. Like I said, he does have some humor to him, but he's not quippy and stuff like that. That's something more Ezra Miller-y for this role. But yeah, like he definitely toned it down a little more for regular Barry. He tuned it up a lot for 18-year-old Barry.
That's what I found too, and the younger version was jarring a little bit.
Yeah,
because
I think it's supposed to show his development where he's really annoying as shit when he's 18, and then like he's a little less annoying when he's in Justice League, and then by the time we get to this, he's a little less annoying, you know.
But that means like it serves the younger Barry well, I guess, in the story of this movie, because we know that
it shows
Barry,
him to be more naive and immature.
Yes,
right?
immature, and he just doesn't take no for an answer. Like the older Barry's like, hey, we're inside the Chrono Bowl or whatever they call it. They're inside that thing, and younger Barry was just hopping through, and he's like, we can do it. And the older
when
Barry's
you think
like,
about it,
I don't know,
when you
dude.
think about it in context of the story, it makes more sense.
He's just so eager to do more stuff and to
So when he comes back, he notices there's no Superman. Fucking Zod's coming. It's at the time when Zod shows up. You get a little bit of backstory with what he was doing when Zod first showed up and how he went to try and save some people, and like he could save the kid, but he couldn't save the dad, like whatever. Then they go to Wayne Manor, and then that's when we get fucking old Mikey Keats showing up with the long hair and beard and shit.
Yeah, I liked the needle drop of Chicago. Did you?
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh hell yeah, done 25 or 6 to 4. I liked his way of explaining like timelines and shit with the spaghetti.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That was the whole theme of this
that.
movie was like food. Barry eats food and
food and time shit.
Tomato paste or whatever, tomato sauce from the know, that was like the
sauces.
Yeah, the sauces and.
But yeah, when he's
there should have been a scene
like,
at the end where somebody makes him spaghetti dinner or something.
When he's got the dried noodles or whatever that, and he's like, people think they fucking, they branch off, but they actually like will intersect. And then he's like, what happens when all bunch of shit happens, and he just plops the noodles down, and he's like, yeah, so like some of them are, fucking run side by side, but some kind of go across in different ways and all this stuff. Which kind of explains like why some things are similar, but some things aren't, and blah blah blah. Which so I liked that. Then we get them going down to old Batcave. He refuses to help them find Superman, first of all. Then they go down Batcave, and then basically just leads to him coming out of retirement as Batman and just like, yeah, I'll help you fucking find this shit. A lot of cool, Danny Elfman drops. That was some good fan service. The Elfman music, you see the Batmobile, and then when the fucking Batwing comes down from the fucking thing, that was cool too.
Yeah, we kind of glazed over a little bit of the.
Oh yeah, when Barry was like, "Oh shit, this is when I'm supposed to get my powers."
That that was kind of a cool like
fucking thing, and the lightning goes. Yeah, lightning goes through him into fucking other Barry, and then our Barry loses his powers while the other one gets powers. There's that.
And then they meet up with like the younger Barry's like roommates that tell them like, in this version we have Eric Stoltz,
which are his buddies from earlier.
Right, that he works with. Just like swapped around a bit, not like all slackers pretty much.
Yeah,
but older Barry finds out that Michael J. Fox wasn't in Back to the Future, but Eric Stoltz was, and
Eric Stoltz was like it originally was.
Kevin Bacon was in like Top Gun, and who else was in like Footloose? Somebody else was in Footloose. Another '80s person was in Footloose.
Michael J. Fox, I think, was Footloose.
Did they just swap that? Okay.
Yeah, and then he said, well, what about Kevin Bacon? The guy from Top Gun? Like, yeah, they all just kind of swap around in there.
That homoerotic volleyball movie?
Yeah.
But then we get that, and then there's a few other funny little gimmicks that come up later on.
Them sneaking around in the police headquarters or whatever was kind of fun too.
Yeah, and then doesn't older Barry call up Tamara Morrison?
Oh yeah.
That was kind of
Arthur Curry's dad.
He's like, "Hey, is
Aquaman's dad?
Is your wife the Queen of Atlantis?"
Yeah.
And he looks over. It's just some couch potato.
Nah. And Arthur's a fucking dog. Yeah.
That was kind of cute.
There's no Wonder Woman. Like none of that. But yeah, so him and Batman, they discover fucking what's her nuts or that Superman's they think in this prison in fucking Siberia or whatever the fuck. They go there, but discover actually that it's Supergirl, not Superman.
Yeah.
Well, they find the girl there and they find the suit.
Her name's Kara, right?
Yeah, Kara Zor-El. It's his cousin. And they fucking bring her out. She gets in the sun and she fucking starts powering up and murking fools.
That was a great scene. I enjoyed Batman in that scene. That was my favorite Batman scene.
Yeah, Batman was tight in that scene. Other Barry and Batman were just like, oh shit, that's not him, let's go. And then fucking our Barry is just like, nah, dude, we gotta save her. Which comes back later in the movie. She helps him.
Don't you think she was good?
She was good. I want to see her. I know she said she's met. Yeah, I know she said she's met with DC again about potentially doing more, because she was originally supposed to get like a Max TV show.
Oh wow!
But that got obviously canceled with everything.
Yeah, this new James Gunn shit and Seraphim.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked her. I liked her. Fucking, she was like she still had that idyllic Superman side, but she was also just like ferocious and just fucking murking fools and shit. That was
she's
cool.
been like her origin being on Earth was way more bleak than
which
Kal-El's.
That was another thing kind of similar to Flashpoint, where in Flashpoint,
it's an emaciated Superman. It's like a reverse.
Yeah. Superman was captured in the most,
bleak place.
Yeah, put in a prison thing where he was away from the sun, so that's why he's all skinny and shit. So that was similar in that aspect. But like in Flashpoint, for instance, Batman, like instead of Thomas and Martha getting gunned down in Crime Alley, it was Bruce that got gunned down in Crime Alley.
Oh, yep,
and
I remember that.
Thomas becomes Batman, and Martha becomes the Joker.
Yep.
So like, that's another instance where it's different. But yeah, they get her fucking. Then once they get her back and shit. That's when Barry tries to get his powers back, right?
Yeah, and then she's there to help him like get the final.
Yeah, the first ones don't work, and then first attempts, and then she takes him up into the sky, and it fucking works, I guess.
It's a great scene too. I enjoyed. I don't know if that's how it works in the comics. Like, I think it's like the combination of lightning and chemicals. But she's just like, all right, let's go get struck by lightning.
In the comics, his origin is like that, where he's in the lab and some lightning hits some chemicals, and that's how he gets. That's it and that. But like in Flashpoint, when he goes back to it, or when he goes there, he still has his powers in that world, I think. I don't remember. Flashpoint Barry's just regular. Yeah, I don't remember. But it's not, again, it's very little to do with the actual Flashpoint comic book.
It's a springboard for just
going with
different ideas. Like, we're going to use that concept of him trying to reverse time, undo something. Like, that's basically all they borrow from Flashpoint.
Yeah, and while all this is happening, all the Zod shit's happening. So, like, they go to fucking fight Zod, and that's where all the shit goes down.
Yeah, a lot of returning characters, like Michael Shannon as Zod.
Zod and Ursa.
They just had him for a day, I think, to shoot his scenes.
Yeah. And then big fight scene. That was pretty cool. The fight scene was pretty cool there. Went on a little long. But
I wasn't connecting with it. I was kind of checked out.
That whole sequence, like if it was just that initial fight, like cool. But like
they had to do the Groundhog Day treatment to it to try to make it better each time. Like they could have done. I could have saw more potential of that, like going back and fixing things, but it was all for naught.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of they wanted to get across. But there's so many other fun things you could have done with that idea.
Right. Just like in in Man of Steel, Zod wants Kal-El for his fucking DNA so he can restart whatever that shit. So he's looking, but he needs Supergirl this time. You find out that he intercepted Clark's fucking pod in space and he died, which sets fucking Supergirl off in big old rage.
That's kind of fucked up. Just to realize that Zod killed a baby.
Yeah. And so there's some cool Flash stuff going on where they're both running and doing shit. Some cool Batman stuff. Cool Supergirl fighting. Like they're all fighting and shit. Supergirl ends up getting stabbed by Zod and her fucking whatever code thing to getting taken out and she dies. Fucking Bruce ends up fucking crashing his plane. He's going to fucking crash his plane into the fucking because he can't get out or some shit. I don't remember.
He was just on a collision course, kamikaze right into Zod's drop ship.
And he couldn't get out of it or some shit. Whatever, doesn't matter. He hits the ship, he dies. Fucking. So then younger Barry's like, nope, this can't happen. We have to stop it. We have to go back. So they go back. They try to stop it. different sequence happens, but yet still they die. And then, like, do they do it another time that we see? I don't remember if they do it 2 or 3 times.
They do it 3 times. I think the second or third time is like when they actually have a heart-to-heart with Batman. Like, in Batman
that
says,
one's
like,
good.
You already brought me back, or whatever.
Yeah,
which was kind of poignant and resonant. I was like,
a little meta
cool.
too, because it's, you know, bringing Keaton back
again. That was kind of what I was getting at. Like, okay, you can close that chapter on Keaton now, I guess. That's cool.
And then that wasn't the original intent, but we'll get to that.
Sure.
And then basically fucking young Barry, being naive and very emotional, keeps running back and back trying to save, and shit keeps happening. And then, like, that monster thing shows up again. You realize as Barry's trying to stop younger Barry from doing it. And he's like, no, and he keeps going and going. And then that monster speedster shows up, and then you realize it's old version of that young Barry. Mm-hmm. And he's been doing it over and over and going to other universes trying to stop all this, whatever. And then that's when you get the big fucking multiverse look at the worlds that are, like, imploding and colliding. And you see fucking George Reeves, Superman. You see fucking Christopher Reeves, Superman, with the Helen Slater, Supergirl. Get to see them together for the first time, even though they were supposed to be in the same universe the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like, and you see the Adam West Batman. And then you see the best one, which was fucking Nick Cage, Superman, fighting the fucking the giant spider.
Robot spider thing?
Yep, just like Kevin Smith talked about. That one was the best looking one, I think, because that one they actually had Nicolas Cage come in and do stuff for.
Like facial.
Yeah, he actually filmed for that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then all that shit, and then they're all colliding and shit, and they're fighting.
Do you think anybody that didn't understand, like,
the Nicolas Cage shit, a lot of people probably didn't understand.
They're like,
that's like
what?
A deep cut.
Yeah, that seemed like, because I remember the promotional image, because that was like was that a Tim Burton joint at one point?
Tim Burton was going to do it. Kevin Smith wrote some drafts for it, and he infamously told the story on one of his Evening with Kevin Smith Q&A videos. So a lot of people know about it.
And then that's right. Didn't he say something like, "Oh, Superman can't fly"?
Yep.
He can't wear the stupid
Don't want
outfit.
him in the suit. Want to fight polar bears and a fucking giant spider.
Yep, that's all the stipulations. Go right.
John Peters, the producer. And what was funny was that if you remember in Man of Steel, he goes up to the Arctic and then he runs into some polar bears. And I was like, oh shit, is that supposed to be a nod to that? And then because Peters was a producer on that movie too.
Oh.
And then if you notice, the terraformers that Zod has kind of look like big giant spiders, mechanical spiders.
Yeah.
But yeah, so seeing that, you know, there were test images from suit tests that have leaked, so you can see what he looked like and stuff in it, all that stuff. But yeah, so that was cool to see. Yeah, I mean, apparently there was a bunch of other ones they wanted to include, but just for time and money's sake, they didn't, you know? But then...
they had Adam West Batman? Did you say that already?
Yep.
Did they have any other Batmans?
No. They wanted to include, like, the Linda Carter Wonder Woman. They wanted to include a bunch of other stuff, but they just didn't. Just for time and money, they didn't do it.
Did you say the old school Flash guy, too?
Yeah, they did a send-up of, like, a Jay Garrick Flash during the fucking George Reeves Superman scene. But yeah, then fucking young Barry decides to fucking that's, you know, then the old gets confusing saying it, but old young Barry, so it's like, yeah, I just kept going back, whatever. I was the one who fucking pushed you out at the time, so I could get whatever. So this is all me. blah blah blah. And then young Barry decides to change things and fucking takes out his old self or whatever. And then all the worlds come back to what they were, blah blah blah. And then Barry, our Barry, but did he come back first, or did he just go straight to going? Yeah, he was like, I gotta go. I have to make things right.
Yeah, he goes back to his mama.
So yeah, so he goes. He has a little heart to heart, which if when I was thinking about it when I was watching, I was like, dude, if this like happened to me in like a grocery store, some guy comes up to me and is just like, and it gets real emotional and shit, that might get a little weird. But like, the scene worked and it was nice. And he takes the fucking tomatoes out and goes to put them back, and then you see him like realize something. And then
were you thinking like I was? I don't know if this was you too, Wilson, but there was a point where at the beginning of the movie when he does put the tomatoes in the cart,
in the thing,
do you think that there was a version of Barry still down that aisle, like hiding?
Yeah, that's why I was like, shit.
Remember Time Crimes when like he goes back the first time, you see the one that was before him hiding behind the closet, and you just see his hand. I was like, maybe there is a version of Barry just like hiding incognito.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to go back and watch and see the beginning again to see if you see
if the
that Barry
fits.
run past that other Barry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Or there's just a glimpse of him in that kind of like
the fucking
yellowish
flannel shirt and shit and sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go back and he's going to show up for his dad's thing.
Trial.
His appeal
thing. Yep.
And then they're showing the video, and you realize what Barry did was he switched the tomatoes so all the green can ones were on the top shelf this time. So his dad then has to look up to grab the can so they can see his face clearly on that video. So his dad ends up, getting set free and shit. And he's leaving, and he's texting with Bruce or whatever. Says some shit. He's like, and then you see a car pulling up. He's like, yeah, I'm pulling up now. And Bruce gets out the car. You don't see him. You see people taking pictures and shit. Bruce. And then the people fucking finally part, and it's fucking our boy George Clooney.
The Clooney's back. The Clooney.
There's Bruce Wayne. And fucking Barry uses the PG-13 one fuck. Who the fuck are you? And then he's like, wait, you're Batman? And then fucking pretty much movie's over at that point.
And then his teeth falls out, or his tooth falls out again.
Oh yeah, his tooth falls out again. Movie's over, and then fucking post-credit scene is just him and Arthur after going out. Barry can't get drunk because his metabolism's so fast, and Arthur's fucking smashed. And it's just a fun little scene. So originally, what was supposed to happen though,
I heard was about this.
Originally at the end of the movie, when Barry came back, the Justice League was going to be Henry Cavill Superman. You're going to have Supergirl there. You're going to have Wonder Woman. You're going to have Aquaman. And you're going to have Michael Keaton Batman. Mm-hmm. Which explains then Batgirl, right?
Yep.
That movie that got shit canned. Why is Batman in that, and why J.K. Simmons was Commissioner Gordon in that, because it's this melding of these timelines. And he was supposed to be in Aquaman for a minute too, and then also the post-credit scene, that one with him and Arthur, was actually supposed to be the mid-credits, and then the post-credits was going to be Barry getting home or some shit, and he gets this transmission, and it's Affleck Batman, or Affleck, saying, Barry, we're lost. We need your help, like, to save us or whatever. And that was basically going to be a setup for the Crisis on Infinite Earths movie that they were planning on doing, but never happened. So that was cut as well. Which Crisis on Infinite Earths, for those who don't know, is a storyline from the 80s where basically there's these people who one dude wants to save his universe, whatever, and then there's this other guy, this Anti-Monitor. Basically, it was at the time it destroyed the DC multiverse and kind of concentrated everything into one timeline, and kind of allowed them to kind of retool things and whatever. And Flash was a very key figure in that. It's an infamous. That's the series where BarryAllen dies. The only way to do something is for Flash to run, and I forget the exact fucking situation, but basically he runs so fast that he disintegrates and disappears. Hell yeah. And that's where Flash dies in fucking the comic books. So they were setting that movie up initially. That was initially going to be the plan. And then also Keaton was going to be, after Batgirl and Aquaman, there was also tentative plans for a Batman Beyond movie that was actually going to happen.
Because that makes sense.
That's all wiped away now. And you could tell things got, the Clooney thing was probably like the reshoot that they did. And I'm sure a lot of things got cut that were in the movie, which explains some of the kind of weird, I guess maybe pacing stuff or weird, shifts in certain things. But I mean,
did you find it jarring to just have George Clooney pop up?
Well, it is, because now we know George Clooney's not going to be fucking Batman in the Brave and the Bold movie. So it's like,
right.
How do you explain that? Like,
is this where we leave the Flash now? Is this where we leave Ezra Miller's Flash? It's like, okay, now he's just stuck with George Clooney as Batman. Like, that's kind of a shit, like, hell for him.
It's a weird, especially since like this is supposed to be, because okay, so in Flashpoint originally this wasn't supposed to happen, but like in the comic books, they decided to use Flashpoint as an opportunity to like reboot the whole DC universe. So when Flash comes back from Flashpoint, everything's different, and like that ushers in the New 52 thing where it's like everybody's younger, like certain things haven't happened, certain things are different. It was basically just kind of a chance to just kind of redo stuff and to kind of give a fresh take on things, I guess. But it got really confusing because there was no like big central plan, and so like no central like what is continuity, what isn't continuity. So like some things got screwy. It started pretty cool, but it ended up not working just because of the editorial oversight and like stupid shit that happened because of it. But yeah, so it's like, I don't know.
But changing that ending to what it is, would that have fucked up anything that they already have planned?
No. Like I said,
it still works. It still works fine.
The original ending, the original ending, if you were leaving it how they left this, the original ending could have just been like, this is that universe, and that's where it stays,
Yeah,
and that could just
brings
be like
back
an end
Cavill,
for that.
It brings back Arthur. It's got all the people like coming together at the end. It's like, okay, this can be the capstone of these characters. Fine, leave it. Right. But they didn't have any reference to Cavill at all. Like there's just him.
No, you see Superman on a screen and that's it.
He's blazing his eyes at a volcano. It's like, okay, that's meant to be him. That's all we're assuming.
But this was made and filmed in the time when Cavill was not involved in anything, right? Because he didn't when his future was up in the air at the time. This is all done
Cyborg
before
too.
Black Adam happened.
They could have got
right?
Borgie Boy. Borgie Boy could have showed up too somewhere and had Cyborg. They could have had him too somewhere.
No, they weren't going to do that. No,
I know
not
they
after
weren't.
all
But
the shit.
That's what I'm
not
saying.
After all the shit with Ray Fisher, they were not going to have him show up at all.
Which is, to me, it's a detriment to, like, if this is where we're just leaving all of this and they're just starting new with brand new IP
in an earlier version, Cyborg was supposed to play a role. He was supposed to be like a helper of some sort for Barry.
Well,
but
even
after
in this,
the Ray Fisher shit happened,
he showed up in a magazine, just his back towards
the back, because they weren't going to show him.
But he was referenced.
So Ray Fisher. They were never going to show Ray Fisher in that, but originally he was supposed to be part of it. In one of the Betty versions of this movie that existed. So it's a weird spot to leave it, especially if leaving it knowing that this isn't the Batman we're going to have in Brave and the Bold. Like, if they were going to do that, they might as well have just ended it the way they originally intended it. But I guess people could see that as confusing also, thinking that all these people are sticking around, when in reality only Jason Momoa is sticking around, and that's why he was in that credit sting. But I don't know.
Yeah, those are some of my
third act.
My takeaways.
There's
were
definitely
just
big third act problems.
The whole third act for me was just like, I was checked out. I was disassociating. I was like, okay.
When I checked out, I was just like, okay, this is not great.
But there's some things to draw me back.
By and large, I mostly had a good time with the movie.
There's just a few things that kept coming back, and I was like, okay, they just have to pay off him coming to the realization that you can't change the past, and you're better off just having that closure moment. And that's what I got, and I was fine with that. Like, if this was him actually getting to say goodbye to his mom, that was poignant enough for me to be like, okay, this Flash needed that closure. This Flash needed this Flash.
And
that was the whole movie revolving around him getting some kind of closure with his mom.
Right. I like the idea of using young, immature Barry as a way for older Barry to realize that, to become more mature via seeing how young him is and shit like that. He's like, no, this isn't, like, realizing the error of his ways by seeing, an even more immature version of himself.
Yep.
I didn't word that well, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a lot of people's takeaway, and that's kind of what I think the producers were trying to get across, is like they're trying to course correct his personality with a younger version that's so more, like, much more hyperactive.
And it's the lesson of the movie of him learning that you can't, sometimes you can't, just because you can't change things, and you have to deal with what you're dealt with. Kind of what Batman was explaining to him at the beginning.
It's just like that Rolling Stones song. You can't always get what you want. Yep,
exactly. It's just like, shit sucks that you have to do it, but deal with it. But that's life, and you kind of have to roll with it. You have to accept what has happened, and that's like the lesson he needed to learn the hard way, and learned via his, came to the realization as he was trying to stop the young version of himself from fucking shit up,
Yep.
I don't know. So what I said on Facebook about it was just like, if you're going there just to like have a good time, not think too hard about it, like, you'll enjoy it. But like, if you really want to, like, critique it and like, break down everything that's wrong with it, like, you're gonna find it, and you're not gonna have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I know and some of our friends and stuff who have seen it, just the short of it was just like, this is a tonal mess, and it's just ugly, and it's this, and it's just abrasive, and it's not very just all the negative of it. Which, yeah, if you want it, like, yes, some of the CG does not look good.
That's more tantalizing. Discussing that stuff, like the bad stuff, is more tantalizing.
Yeah,
funner to discuss. But there are things that you can connect with these characters on some level. And yeah, the CGI was kind of bonkers, and I know the director had some kind of throwaway reason why it was like that.
Was dumb. It was just don't say anything about that.
Just shut up. He even had like a throw to the It movies when Barry was like cleaning his apartment for the girlfriend character.
Yeah.
He threw a bunch of shit into a cupboard, like a hideaway cupboard, and then he like hits the wall, and all the shit pops out. There's one little Jack in the Box that has a red balloon on it, and then the Pennywise pops out, and you can see for a split second little Pennywise clown.
That's awesome.
And then even the director, I think, was the guy that was eating a hot dog, and Barry snatches it from him.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
In one scene, so that was kind of goofy.
But yeah, so like, if you just want, it's a good popcorn movie. If you want to just go, just to chill, have a good time. Yeah, you can enjoy it. If you want to get analytical with it, I mean, yeah, you're gonna find a lot of shit wrong with it.
Did you notice also that the lightning changed colors at a certain point too? His Speed Force, he had like yellow lightning at the beginning, like the warm.
So when he's lightning. In his, I noticed it. I noticed it when he was in his suit.
Blue.
When he was in his suit, because in the Justice League movie, it was blue, right?
Yeah.
And then in this, it's when he's in his suit, it's yellow, but when he was not in his suit, it was blue.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's the suit or what, because then that channeling the energy, maybe, because they talk about that his suit channels the energy and shit. Mm-hmm. Whereas when younger Barry's wearing the Batman suit, it's not, it's friction proof, whatever, so he can run in it, but it doesn't have anything to disperse the energy, so he has to like let loose at some point.
Oh yeah, he uses like a reverb, like a he like kicks somebody.
So maybe it has to do with that, like maybe that his suit that he's wearing, that the Arbery's wearing, is channeling the energy and dissipating it, and maybe that changes the lightning color. I don't know. And since Other Barry wasn't, or has that other suit, it was blue, and when Arbery wasn't in his suit, it was blue. Yeah. I don't know.
There's some cool color theory things you can go along with, though.
But I did notice that, yeah. But it only changed when he wasn't in his suit. Right. Every time he was in his suit, it was yellow.
In this movie.
But in definitely other movies, like the Chrono Bowl right? stuff. Huh?
In other movies, it was blue when he was in the suit?
The first one, yeah, but it was a different suit.
Okay. So
it wasn't this like more like advanced suit, because you see in that other suit, you see the energy running through the lines and stuff in his suit in this one.
Sure.
In the first one, it was just a homemade suit, right? Which was probably friction proof, but probably didn't have the energy dispersal thing. Yeah. Since it was just like plated armor. So I think that might have something to do with it.
Sure.
But yeah, so like, yeah, the CG, like when there's CG babies and shit, that looked weird. The fucking, in the Chrono Bowl, like all that shit looked weird, but like,
I'm trying to picture like what from anything else,
bother me.
What it looked like to me. Like it looked like they were.
One of our friends said PlayStation 5 graphics or PlayStation graphics.
Oh, like PlayStation 2 graphics or something. It was they looked like
graphics or something.
They looked like a porcelain or like a wax figure ish.
Yeah, it was definitely big time Uncanny Valley shit happening. But like it didn't piss me off or anything. And I liked the idea of that Chrono Bowl thing. That just kind of looked cool in general.
The idea of it, yeah, like it was like
that's
an
the thing. There's a lot of good ideas in this that just the execution wasn't great. There's some things like some of the core emotional story, some of that was executed well, but like other ideas that were good weren't executed that great. Whether it was the way it was written or the way it was shot or the way CG looked, some things just didn't. Some of the ideas that were interesting just didn't translate. But yeah, like I said, is it like the best superhero movie ever? No. Is it even like a great movie? No. But like, is it a movie you can go have a fun time with and enjoy? Yeah, you can do that. It's a good, like I said, it's a good summertime popcorn movie. Because that's kind of how you felt too, Tyler, right?
Yep, pretty much. I mean, like I said, I when I go to movies, I try to find something to latch onto, something that resonates throughout the movie. I look past all the other fluff and things that is the spectacle of the movie, which is a huge part of these superhero movies. They have to be a spectacle and they have to be loud and big.
Yeah,
these set pieces have to be major.
Yeah, and it definitely had that.
The hooks of the movie and the theme, the overall, like what you're supposed to take away, the message of the movie is what I want to connect with. And if they land the message, and I knew what I was expecting, I knew what the message was going to be. But if they landed that message and our character came out, feeling satisfied with the result of everything, I was fine with it. It was great.
Right.
Cool.
It's my hot take too is I enjoyed this more than almost all of the MCU movies post Endgame, with the exception of Guardians 3, which I really enjoyed. But
yeah, I could say that's pretty easy.
I mean like maybe Shang-Chi, maybe, but if so, barely. You know what I mean? Like I like the first act or two of Shang-Chi, but once they like go into that other plane or whatever, and then it just kind of reverts to basic bitch fucking superhero movie again.
Yeah.
It loses me completely. So outside of I saw Guardians 3 a week ago, and I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really good. So outside of that movie, I would say I enjoyed Flash more than any other MCU movie since Endgame.
Which is, it's just crazy. This one's been in production probably longer than those other ones that came out.
Yeah. It's gone through multiple writers. It's been announced for almost 10 years. At this point.
That's where I'm thinking, like, where could this movie have where could it have existed?
Yeah.
Before like it came out, if this came out 2 years, or in line with their initial release or their production schedule, maybe it would have been a lot better. Who knows?
It went through the fucking Ezra Miller of it all too.
Yeah. It went through Billy Crudup. It went through a Billy Crudup phase. It turned into Ron Livingston.
Billy Crudup just wasn't available.
I know.
So they got Office Space guy.
They got Ron Livingston. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, that's just a whatever, but.
Yeah. It's not doing well financially at this point. And critics really did not like it. Fan reception was better, but that's still kind of going down. But I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as
like I hate Ezra kind of voice.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it is that or not. But I definitely,
it's politically charged.
It's definitely better than Black Adam. Definitely better than Ant-Man Quantumania. It's like I said, it's a solid middle of the road for me, like middle of the like list for DC movies. And I enjoyed it. That's, like I said, I can't say it's the best or like it's a really good movie or anything. I can just say that I enjoyed it and had a good time. will I watch it again? I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe if they come out with like little bonus features, or they pack everything into it,
Right. Where this whole thing goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, where this whole Flash stuff goes after, I don't know. I know the director is they announced is going to be directing Brave and the Bold, the Batman movie.
This Andy
Muschietti, whatever.
Betty Spaghetti.
His sister producer is also producing it as well, co-producing it.
Betty
Barbara.
Oh, Barbara Betty Spaghetti. I don't know.
Yeah, Barbara Muschietti, whatever. But yeah, Wilson. Anything?
Yeah. Do you have
any thoughts?
All right.
You're just munching.
You say it's all right.
Is your audio okay, Wilson? I didn't hear. What did he say?
I thought he said it's all right, but
yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Any strong feelings on anything in particular? Nope. Yeah. Like I said, spray all right. It's all right. You want to just go have a fun time on a movie? Then you can do it with that. Your life's not going to be changed afterwards, but you can have a good time.
I'd say, yeah, that's pretty much my whole thoughts too.
Yep. And I mean, this is yeah, it also serves as the end of, old DC. Our next, where we go from here, will be like the first new, first movie in this new universe, which will be Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle will be the first one. Which trailer looks fun. So
get that out of the way right off the bat. How about?
Yeah, well, I'm looking. I think it looks fun from the trailer, and I love that fucking costume just in general.
It does look really cool. It's very reminiscent of like fucking Power Ranger, like something.
Yeah, and it looks good in this live action one. So, and it looks fun. So that'll be next, and then after that, the next one will be Aquaman 2. Will be the second one in this new universe. So these are movies still though that were made before this new universe, right? So it's not truly like new DC yet. I think Superman Legacy will probably be the first one for that. So we got a little ways out still, but for the first like truly new like Gunn Safran era movies. But these next two are part of this universe, even though they were made before. So,
Yep. Looking forward to them, nonetheless. It'll be a good time. It'll be a time, I guess. It'll be one of the times. It'll be a time of a life.
It'll be a time. Again, I think the next Marvel movie we have is The Marvels. So, which could be fun, but we'll see.
We'll see.
It's an interesting time for superhero movies. So,
very just kind of
Marvel
biding time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Marvel dealing with post-Endgame whatever, trying to find their footing. DC doing the whole
right now.
Yeah, DC doing the whole reboot. And then box office returns not being great, whether it's because the movies aren't great or there's actual superhero fatigue. Who knows? So.
Yep. But yeah, we'll discuss more stuff, more movies in the future. This was a fun digress. Yeah. Always good to have Brodsho's insights on everything and rundowns. And the stuff with the studio and all those issues is definitely is right up your alley, Brodsho.
Oh yeah, dude. I love the fucking inside baseball shit.
Yeah.
Love the inside baseball shit. So.
But yeah, we'll leave it there and we'll discuss more things in the future. Stay tuned. Goodbye.
Goodbye.